So your warm-up has a square. Okay, so everyone should at least look at this and say, okay, there's a square. I got to do something with this square. And this is what we've been doing. We've been getting a figure, and the problems have given us the figure, and we got to do something with it. When we first started this, we needed to translate, slide it, right? Left or right, up and down. The next thing we did was we reflected it over something, right? Over a line of reflection. Now we're doing something different. We are rotating it around a center of rotation. Now, if you forgot how to do that because we just learned it last week, that's okay. We can always start from the beginning. They give us a figure. They give us a square, PQRS. So let's plot those points, PQRS. So let's first plot P. P is 2, 6. So if you forgot how to plot points, again, here's my x-axis, here's my y-axis. Where they meet is the origin, that's 0, 0. And all 2, 6 means is, right, x, y. Those are my coordinates. The first number tells me my x coordinate. Second number tells me my y coordinate. So 2, 6, all that means is I start here and I go on the x-axis 2, and then I go on the y-axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I go 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's point P. Point Q is 6, 5. That means I go 6 in the x-axis and then up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's Q. R is 5, 1. R is 5, 1. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. And then S is 1, 2. So I go 1 on the X, 2 on the Y. So 1, 2. There's S. And there's my original figure. So you should all at least be able to do this. That's what we're starting with. Now, if you're confused from this point, that's fine. That's fine. We're going to do what? It says we're going to rotate it 180 degrees. So that means I'm going to get this figure and I'm going to rotate the entire thing, turn it, right? We're going to rotate it. We're going to turn it. So it's going to go, remember, from here to here is 90 degrees. So 180. So 180 is over here. 180 is half a circle. 360 would be the entire circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. Now, some of you are saying, Mister, it just says 180 degrees. It doesn't say clockwise or counterclockwise after it. Why is that? Over here, when you looked at this problem, we got to finish this. When we started this problem on Friday, we just rotated 1 point. This one says counterclockwise. And when you look at the problem we're going to do later, that one also says counterclockwise. Why does 180 not have a direction like that? It just has the degrees. Anyone know? Think about it. So am I going this way, 180 degrees? Or am I going this way, 180 degrees? Counterclockwise or clockwise? Yes, it's going to end up in the same place. 180 degrees is half of full rotation, right? Half of full rotation. So let me take off my headphones. So I'm going to turn to my right, 180 degrees. Watch this. Okay, when I do that, you see the back of my head. Now I'm going to turn to my left 180 degrees. What do you see? You still see the back of my head. So 180 degrees is a special turn because it's half a turn. So it really doesn't matter which way you go. You're still going to end up in the same place. So if I go 180 degrees counterclockwise or 180 degrees clockwise, I'm going to end up in quadrant 3 anyway. Right? Each quadrant is 90 degrees. Okay, so that's why it doesn't say clockwise or counterclockwise. Now, what's the rule for this? We go back to here. I don't know if you noticed this, guys, but every time we take notes, there's always a part of your notes that's super, super important. And I have you highlight it, or I tell you to copy it down, and I tell you this is very important. And then some of you completely ignore me and say, yeah. And then when I say that, they're like, Mister, how do you do this? I'm like, oh, you mean the thing I've been pointing to that told you to copy and highlight for the last 2 weeks? Oh, that thing? Yeah, that's how you do it. This is that for this lesson. Right here. We're just doing 3 things. Some teachers have you learn 6 things. 3 for counterclockwise, 3 for clockwise. I'm not doing that. We're just doing these 3. We're focusing on counterclockwise, and we're just going 90, 180, or 270 degrees. That's all we're learning. So there's 3 different ways I can do this. Okay? So we're doing 180 degrees. That means we're getting a figure and we're turning it 180 degrees. Now what happens? We looked at the Mario. Remember we looked at the Mario. That's what we did last week. We figured out these rules ourselves by looking at this Mario and figuring out by looking at his thumb on his left hand or his left boot. Okay, and we looked at that and we noticed some patterns. We noticed some patterns with the boot. The numbers were the same, but they either switched and one of them changed signs, or they stayed the same and both of them changed signs. So we looked at those patterns and we came up with these rules. So for 180, let's see. I did it in words and we also did it as a notation. So the words say, if I want to rotate 180 degrees, this is what I do. For each point, the X and Y coordinates stay in the same place. So I don't switch them. The X and Y stay in the same place. And the X and Y coordinates change signs. So here's the notation I gave you. Original point, X, Y, changes to X and Y still stay there. Whatever numbers were right here, stay there. But this minus in front of them means they're the opposite sign. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I go here, let's do 1 point at a time. Here's P, right? I want to make P prime. Remember, prime means it's my new point. It's my transformed point. In this case, it's rotated. So what did we say? How do I change P to P prime? So if P is going to move, if P is going to be rotated, what do I do to it? The 2 and the 6 stay in the same place. 2 and the 6 stay in the same place. And each one turns into the opposite. So my new P, my rotated P, and we're just going to rotate the endpoints so the whole thing moves. My rotated P is -2, -6, and let's plot that. -2, 1, 2, -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's my new P, P prime. Okay, let's do that to each point. Let's do that to Q. So what's Q prime? The new Q. If I'm going to rotate Q 180 degrees, I'm just going to follow the rule. The rule said the X and Y stay the same, so 6 and 5 stay the same. But what happens? They both change signs. That's -6, that's -5. And so that's my new Q. -6, 1, 2, 3, oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my new Q, Q prime. All right, let's do the same thing with R. I'm going to put right here, R prime. R prime. Again, it's R. We're going to rotate R. And what do? Let's follow the rule. The rule says that the X and Y stay the same. And they change signs to the opposite sign. So that becomes negative. And that becomes negative. So R prime is -5, -1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those of you that are saying, Mister, you're going too fast, let me copy. Don't copy right now. Follow along. Look at what we're doing. Of course, I'm always going to give you time, and I'm going to show it to you. You can copy it after. Look at it. Soak it in. Understand it. Stop me. Ask questions if you're lost. So all we're doing is we're following this rule that we came up with last week for rotating it 180 degrees. And that rule is the sign, the point. We're just doing it point by point. We always just rotate point by point. We don't rotate the whole thing at the same time. We just rotate point by point. And then we put those points together over here, and the entire figure moved when you do point by point. And all this rule says is get my original point, and the number stays the same in the same order. The X stays there, the Y stays there, but I just changed their signs. All right, let's do the same thing for S. So S is 1, 2. What's S prime? Well, 1 and 2 stay there. But what happens to the signs? They turn negative. So -1, -2. -1, -2. There's my new S, S prime. If I put those together, I've moved the entire figure. I've rotated the figure 180 degrees. And how did I do that? I just followed the rules. Now, some of you are like, Mister, I can't memorize this. This is hard. Not asking you to memorize it. You do not have to memorize it. You can use these notes for any quiz, any test, any homework, any classwork, anything we do with rotations. You're always welcome to use these notes, and you're always welcome to look back at this. So no, you do not have to memorize anything. So I'm going to give you a minute to copy this. and ask any questions. Those of you that are confused and sit there and not going to do anything, I feel sorry for you because you're not going to learn. You absolutely. And of course, I'm afraid to ask. I'm too afraid to do this. I'm afraid. We talked about this the first 2 weeks of this year. Go ahead and be afraid. Understand that you're afraid. Accept that you're afraid. I'm okay with you being afraid. But you need to dance with that fear and actually dip your toe in that water and ask a little question. Or somehow go in that direction, because look where afraid's getting you. Right? Has that helped you in your life at all, being afraid? Is that going to help you get a better grade in this class, being afraid? Or actually asking a question and seeing what happens and then looking and going, oh, nothing bad happened. I asked a question and nothing bad happened. I actually got my question answered. Oh, okay. So those of you that don't understand this or confused, now's the time to ask. You have 3 adults in here that you can ask. Give you a minute to copy. Right? So they send me a direct message saying, Mister, I'm sorry I haven't been doing my work, but yes, I get ashamed that I don't understand, and I don't want to look dumb. You're not going to look dumb. You're in a class. If you knew all of this already, you wouldn't have to take this class. That's the point. You are in here because you don't know most of this stuff. I'm teaching it to you, and it's brand new, right? And it's not very connected to what you did last year in Algebra 1. It kind of is, but it's a lot different. So you don't have to be ashamed at that, right? That's okay that you told me that. So if you do need to catch up, they're like asking, how can I catch up? One way you can do it, and let's go over here. And yes, I'm going to show you again like I always do. You're like, Mister, you always show this. Yeah, because some of you aren't paying attention and some of you forget. Yeah, you agree with whoever said that. Exactly. Someone else is saying that. I'm ashamed to ask. I know that's how you feel. There is no shame in not knowing. How is that shameful? You're in a class that you don't understand because you haven't been taught it, right? So of course, how is that shameful? That's exactly what should be happening. A teacher should explain something and you should go, I didn't know that. And I still kind of don't know that. You're not, the human brain, the human brain doesn't work like that. The human brain, some people think the human brain is someone explains something to you and you're supposed to know it like that. And then that's it. No. Someone explains something to you and you're probably not going to get it. And then they explain it again and you're probably going to be like, okay. And it takes a while. That's why I beg you guys to try the problems, because when you hear something, you learn. What is that quote? There's a quote. I'm going to look for that quote, but you learn a small percentage of what you hear, right? You learn a little bit bigger percentage of what you see, right? But the biggest percentage of what you learn is when you actually try, when you actually do, when you're trying to do something and you're failing and you mess up and then you try it again. And then that's the actual place where you start learning, when you're actually doing. So listening, you're not going to remember. So there's no shame in not understanding something after I've explained it to you. You need to tell me, hey, Mister, explain it again, especially when you're struggling. So go to Schoology, right? If you are struggling, somebody asks, Mister, what's the first thing we can do? You can go here to our folders. And if you go to last week's folders, you'll see the links to the lesson videos, right? On Thursday, we did the intro to rotations. And then on Friday, we did a continuation of rotations. Okay. So you can look at those lessons. You can fast forward me. You can rewind me. You can pause me. You can shut me up and just press pause and I won't talk anymore. You can pause on certain points when I'm taking notes, so you can copy some stuff down. And then even if you do that, you guys, I have 24/7 office hours. I may not answer you 24/7, but you can send me messages whenever. I see some students sending me midnight, 1, 2 in the morning messages. I may not answer at that time, but I will answer as soon as I can, like the next morning or whenever I see it. Okay. So so you go here and there's the lessons. You can watch the lessons that we've done before. And you can always send me messages saying, Mister, just like this student did. Look, I'm ashamed. I haven't been doing the work. I feel embarrassed. I understand that. I completely understand that. I will work with you. You come to me with like that. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. Right. And I know a lot of you have too much pride to ask for help, but that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. Okay, so thank you. Thank you, two of you that's the one of the first steps to actually start saying that, like, yeah, I don't ask for help even when I'm struggling. Ooh, so someone just told me a quote. I love this quote. Have you heard the quote that says, the person who asks a question is a fool for a minute, but the one who doesn't ask is a fool forever? Exactly. So I don't, you should not be afraid of me. I'm not going to scream at you for asking questions. I love questions. And thank you, you three. Thank you, two of you, for opening up like that, putting yourself out there. That was them. These two people that said these things in the chat, they're afraid. They're afraid to ask, but they went out on a limb and they told me that. So I appreciate that. And so just don't worry. Just ask me for help whenever you can. Come here, look at the lesson videos if you need to come back. And always, you can always ask me questions. Okay, are there any questions on this one, on the warm-up? Before we go on. Okay, so the key here is you need to look at this chart. Whatever's happening, you first plot the points of the original figure. That's always the first thing you should do. Plot the points of the original figure. And then see what you're doing. In this one, we're going 180 degrees. Then you focus on, okay, we're doing 180 degrees. Let me focus on this part, because this is the rule for how to rotate 180 degrees. And we just do one point at a time. You just get this point, rotate it. You get this point, rotate it. You get this point, rotate it. Put those together, you're done. So you don't have to rotate the entire figure. You just like we've been doing, you just do the vertices, just the end points, the corner points. Rotate those with using this rule. And I put each rule in words for those of you that like words, and I put it in notation for those of you that like to look at visual representations. Original point changes to this. Okay. All right, let's try one. Let's try this one. So I already did the original figure for you. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to try to rotate this 270 degrees counterclockwise. Okay. 270 degrees counterclockwise. So I did the original figure for you. There's J, K, L, M. I plotted those points. It's a trapezoid. Look at the rule in your notes. So we're going 270 degrees. Just a little hint. 270 degrees means I'm going 90, 180, 270. That means this should be here, right? Counterclockwise. Counterclockwise means I'm going this way. If I went clockwise, I would go this way. But if you notice, we don't have any rules for clockwise. We don't have any rules for clockwise because we don't want to do that. I don't want to make you learn 3 more rules. Okay, so counterclockwise, the rule is up here. So look at this rule, and I'll give you 4 minutes. 4 minutes to do this. Please try this. Those of you that are afraid to try, just do it. Just try it. No one's going to see your paper anyway. And if you get it wrong, no one else is going to see. But at least when I go over it, you'll be able to connect and see what you did wrong. So 4 minutes. All right, 15 more seconds. Okay, so let's quickly go over this. So first of all, what's the rule? What's the rule for rotating 270 degrees? What's the rule? Well, if we go back, we look at the rule. And yes, I know we haven't done number 1 yet. We will finish number 1. But the rule for 270 is for each point, the X and Y coordinate switch places. So from the old point to the new point, I got to get those 2 numbers in the original point and switch them. And the original X coordinate. So that means this one right here changes signs. So where I put that number, that second number here changes signs. So I switch the numbers and I change the sign of the second one. So let's see what I mean by that. So let's go over here. And so I'm going to list these first. So J, you see how J is 3, 4? Well, J prime is going to be, well, first we switch them. So put the 4 here and the 3 there. And then the second one becomes negative. The second one becomes opposite. So there's my new J. I switch J, and the second one gets the opposite. So now that becomes negative 3. So J prime is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 3. 1, 2, 3. There's my new J, J prime. And that makes sense because if I'm going 270 degrees, I'm going to be here in this quadrant because 270 means 90 is this quadrant, then to this quadrant's 180, then to this quadrant's another 90, so that's 270. So there's my J prime. Okay, let's try the next one. K prime. K prime. Well, K is 6, 4. If you see here, K is 6, 4. So to get the new K, I'm going to switch the numbers. 4, 6. And then that second one turns opposite. So that second one turns into negative 6. So my new K is 4, negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's my new K. K prime. All right, we're almost done. L prime. Well, let's look at L. L is 8, 1. So L prime, the new L is going to be, flip it over, 1, 8. And then that second number, the old X, that second number turns opposite, which is negative. So 1, negative 8. So 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here we go. There's L prime. And then let's do M prime. Well, M is 1, 1. So we flip those and it becomes 1, 1. Well, same thing, right? And then that second one turns negative. So it becomes 1, negative 1. Well, it turns opposite. It was positive. Now it's negative. So 1, negative 1 is 1, negative 1. There's my new M prime. And if I put these together, you will see that it's the same figure, just rotated. There you go. That's all you do. Just follow the rule for each point. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, I'm here. Class is over now, but if you have any questions, I'm here. Homework's not going to be due until tomorrow. We'll have an activity on this tomorrow. We'll have more practice. We're going to have more practice on this tomorrow. And if you're struggling, be like these 2 brave people today. These 2 brave people actually came out and said, yes, that's me. Yes, I'm struggling. Yes, I get embarrassed. You know, go ahead and reach out to me or Miss Rivas or Miss Torres. Okay? All right, everyone, take care. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.